Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that millions of businesses, maybe even yours, rely on every single day, Microsoft 365. Specifically, its security.
And just to give you a sense of scale, we're talking about over 345 million paid users. For so many modern businesses, it's the digital backbone, right? It's handling everything from your day-to-day emails to your most sensitive company files.
So you can imagine, with all that critical data packed into one place, it becomes this huge, juicy target for attackers. And here's the scary part. The default settings, they might not be protecting you nearly as much as you think. So let's dive in and break down exactly where these hidden risks are lurking.
All right, first up, let's talk about the core problem here. We're looking at these really common, often totally invisible security gaps that exist in most Microsoft 365 environments. Microsoft calls these tenants, which is just their way of saying your organization's entire digital office space in the cloud.
And look, we're not talking about some super complex, Mission Impossible style hack here. Nope. These are surprisingly simple misconfigurations that attackers are exploiting every single day for stuff like ransomware. Think about it. Leaving old, outdated ways to log in still active, or not requiring multi-factor authentication on your most powerful admin accounts. Even something as simple as audit logging being turned off. That means if a bad guy does get in, you have literally no record of what they did. It's the digital equivalent of leaving your backdoor wide open with a welcome mat.
And the scale of this one particular problem, it's just staggering. Ready for this? A whopping 80% of M365 tenants still allow something called legacy authentication. This is an old, frankly ancient login method that lets attackers completely bypass modern security like multi-factor authentication. It's their favorite backdoor, and it's shockingly easy for them to use.
So you're probably thinking, if the risks are so obvious, why isn't everyone fixing this stuff? Well, that's a great question. Let's take a look at the two main tools people are using today and see where they kind of fall short.
Okay, so on one side, you've got Microsoft's own Secure Score. And hey, it's convenient, it's built right in, but it can be a little biased. Let's just say some of its recommendations seem to conveniently push you toward upgrading to a more expensive license. Then, on the other side, you've got the CIS controls, which are super respected and credible. But the problem is they're really broad. They weren't built specifically for a cloud service like M365, so you have to do a ton of guesswork to figure out how to even apply them.
And what that means, and this is the crucial point, is that businesses and their IT partners, the managed service providers or MSPs, are stuck. They're left in this gap without a clear, authoritative standard to follow. They're caught in the middle, needing a playbook that's built for M365 and one they can stand behind if things go south.
But this is where the story gets interesting. This is where the cavalry shows up. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, we just call them CISA, they saw this problem and stepped in to create a solution to fill this exact gap. And that solution is called Scuba Gear. Now, this isn't just another 100-page PDF with a bunch of vague suggestions. No way. This is an actual operational tool. It's a free script you can run that scans your M365 setup and gives you a straight-up pass-or-fail report, all based on a security standard backed by the U.S. government. No gray areas, just crystal clear results.
And this is the real power of Scuba Gear. I mean, imagine being an IT provider and being able to tell your client, hey, this isn't just our opinion, this is the US government's recommended baseline. That is a total game changer. It's defensible. Why? Because it's unbiased, it's based on real-world threats, and it comes straight from the top cybersecurity agency in the US.
So what does it actually check? Well, it has this laser-like focus on the high-impact settings that attackers actually go after. Remember that list of common problems we talked about a minute ago? Scuba Gear goes right down the list. Is MFA enforced everywhere? Are those risky old login methods disabled? Are your audit logs actually turned on? It basically takes all the guesswork out of locking down your environment.
Okay, so Scuba Gear sounds pretty perfect, right? Well, almost. There's one final hurdle. And it's a pretty big one, especially for any organization that has to manage more than just one system.
See, even though it's powerful, the tool is a manual script. Now, imagine you're an MSP and you're managing, say, dozens or even hundreds of different clients. Running this script for each one, then trying to track all those scores, and then trying to monitor for any changes, it becomes a total nightmare. It's slow, it's clunky, it's prone to mistakes, it just doesn't scale.
So, how do we solve that? How do you take this incredible standard and actually make it practical?
The answer, my friends, is the final piece of the puzzle: automation.
This is where a platform like ThreatMate, which we saw in the source material, comes in. It lets MSPs automate the entire scuba gear process. So instead of running scripts by hand, the checks just run on a schedule. All the results get pulled into a single central dashboard. And it even tracks something called drift, which is super important. That's when a setting you fixed gets accidentally changed back to being insecure. This whole process turns a great idea into a truly scalable, repeatable security service. And that automation, it completely transforms the whole thing. You go from this high-effort, inconsistent, error-prone spot check to a low-effort, proactive security program that's always on, continuously monitoring your environment to keep it safe.
So let's bring it all home. The big takeaway here is this. A defensible, government-backed standard for securing Microsoft 365 is no longer a wish list item. It exists. So the crucial question you have to ask yourself is my organization meeting it? Because in today's world, just rolling with the default settings isn't just a bad idea. It's a risk you really can't afford to take.